this sound. It's coming, drag me to the water and bury me deep. I got a wretched soul that longs to sleep. Bring me to the slaughter, another one of your sheep. I've got an aching heart that longs to be alone.
Hi, I'm Ian,
And I'm Jamie from King Voodoo.
and you're watching the Paranormal Brew.
Hello. Can you hear me? You got to unmute.
I
There
was
we go.
trying to not overshadow that introduction. And then I realized I could never overshadow that.
It's a good song. Good group.
Yeah.
They're from the UK. And they're called King Voodoo. And the one guy, Ian Johnson, the member of the band, I'm a good friend of his, and he's like, sure. He's like, use our songs. Go ahead. So
Very cool.
yeah, they're awesome. I love their music. I'm trying to get them into the US, but
Yeah, very cool.
I don't have pull like that. Or
I
money.
don't have pull like that.
So how are you, beautiful?
Good. How are you doing?
So for all of you that are unaware of who this beautiful, charming woman is, Charli McBride, she not only is streaming her show weeklies, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on BB3 TV and Paranormal Brew. She has about 14 hours of her day that is dedicated to all of the wonderful things that she does for the world and the universe and the people that are in it.
Wow.
So, Charli, can you please just give us a little bit about yourself? Just what you're into, what you're doing now, how you, when your first experience, like how you knew this was your path, and
I
if any.
I don't think I ever knew that this was my path until, you probably couldn't have convinced me 10 years ago. If you would have come to me, I would have been like, no, I'm just helping,
Right.
When I was 18, I had a pretty significant head injury and I was clinically dead. When I came to, I couldn't remember pretty much anything prior to that accident. And I knew that I could see and hear what nobody else could, which was, dead people. It's just like, why can't other people do this? Which led me down the path of searching and searching and trying to figure out what this is, why other people didn't experience it. And I was actually enrolled in college to be, I was geared to be an English professor, and that drastically changed. And I took religious studies, and one thing led me to another, and I finally met my mentor. And if I had never met him, I wouldn't be where I'm at.
Yeah.
Because I seriously was questioning my sanity at many different junctures. Yeah. So my hope with what I do is to normalize what the title of shamanism is, because I think people have this picture in their head of tree hugging, granola eating indigenous people, and it can be sisters and brothers and mothers and fathers and everyday folks. It is taking that ancient knowledge and utilizing it in the best capacity in our modern world. And not
Is shaman considered a religion?
No,
No. Okay. So you had mentioned like you were, learning different religions and stuff like that. Did
Mhm.
one of the religions lead you to the shamanism or?
No, my mentor was a shamanic mentor,
Oh,
and
okay. Gotcha.
um, it felt like coming home is the best way I can say it. Everything felt very natural. Everything that he said resided within me as truth.
Right.
And, I come from a long line of very religious folks. My father and my grandfather, and before him, they were all in different ministry positions within the church. And you can imagine, hi, I talk to dead people and I don't believe in that,
Right. Right.
Yeah. So quite challenging. It was a muddy path, but I'm glad I walked it,
So did they give you a hard time?
I'm blessed, I think.
Okay.
I think I'm blessed because I was already out of my parents' home. I have my husband has been just remarkable. I gotta say, if he, you got to put yourself in his shoes. I just walk up to him and like, hey, I talk to dead people, and he was like, okay, I don't know if I would be that accepting. He was very accepting.
Yeah.
Very much so. I think I'm very blessed in that regard that he didn't go, time for the coat that hugs yourself forevermore, So
Right. And then he continues to, I mean, he, obviously is he into this stuff or does he kind of
no,
just
not at all. Not at all. He supports me, he believes me, and he knows that obviously I'm not pulling the information from my butt,
yeah.
But is he a practitioner of any sort? No, not at all. Not at all.
Julie says glad he's supportive. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it would be tough because I know we were talking, if you don't mind me saying, you said 12 to 14 hours a day you do
Yep.
this.
Yep.
12 to 14 hours a day. That's a long time, I mean,
Yeah.
is it Monday through Friday or are
No.
you like constantly on?
It's well, I do my classes and Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Those are my classes. Monday, I do nothing but appointments for whatever, a healing, a reading, something like that. Friday is recently I've tried very hard to dedicate that to emergencies only. So if there's heavy energy cases or something like that, I'm definitely going to schedule that for a Friday because I like to keep that separate from all of the other work I do.
Well, I'm sure those type of cases and dealings probably drain a little bit more of your energy.
I think that you have to be good at separating,
Yeah.
and you have to be able to be very mindful of your vibration and of your mental thought processes and not spend time where you're just engrossed in it for long periods of time. So over the years, I think I've gotten very well versed in it, let's say.
Okay. Can I tell my story? I will leave out
sure.
details that
Yeah.
are not, So I was, just so you guys know, I'm an investigator. For those that don't know, that are watching, they will follow Charli. Thank you so much for being here. I'm an investigator. I'm told that I am sensitive and this and that and intuitive, but I have a hard time accepting that. I have ADD, ADHD, whatever we call really, really bad. So it's very hard for me to meditate. It's very hard for me to do all that stuff. And I was having an issue. And Charli, being the wonderful human being that she is, called me and said, okay, we're going to do this. Okay. And I don't want you to be a repeat customer. And I said, okay. And that was the first thing she said. And it resonated within me, just that. And I don't know why or how, but it did. And am I allowed to say what you did?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she says, I'm going to do a shamanic, correct me if I'm wrong, but a shamanic cord cutting.
Mhm.
And she said, I'm going to put you on mute because I'm going to, I guess, would you consider that like praying or like what you were doing?
It's just part of my process. Some people call it ritualizing, chanting, whatever you want to call it. It's just part of my process.
So
Yeah.
she says to me, I'm going to put you on mute because I do this. And I do believe you said chant. So so she's like, I'm going to do this shamanic chant. And, and I said, leave it off mute. Right now, I could not hear what she was saying. Well, anyways, okay. So she says, all right, here we go. And I closed my eyes. And I remember hearing Charli breathing first. And I could hear that.
And I was on mute. I was absolutely on mute.
So I could hear her breathing. So I said, okay, so I started to breathe with her in my space, like I wasn't loud or anything, but I was just breathing and I could follow her breath. And then I started hearing her doing her shamanic chant. I couldn't hear the words, but I could hear her, if that makes sense. I could just hear what she was doing. So I closed my eyes and it's almost like I could feel it happening. And in my 44 years of knowing life and everything and being through this and actually having other people, and this is no disrespect or anything for anybody else that has tried to do Reiki with me or has tried to, help me with things like that. My brain just doesn't connect with it, but it was connecting here. And it was, and I know that sometimes, most of the times, correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of the times stuff doesn't happen overnight like that. Like stuff just doesn't boom and you feel better. But it did for me.
It does for my clients.
Does that happen for people a lot?
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah, it does for my clients.
Well,
it is a continuing process. It is a continuing process.
And I think kind of you and I have talked a couple of times, whether or not it was, how I feel about the situation. And that I'm not a returning customer. This is almost like, I know that this worked because it's still trying to affect me, but it's not affecting me.
Mm-hmm.
And
because you don't have the emotional charge related to it. So you can be at peace with it regardless of what nonsense is occurring because you no longer have the emotional investment and tied to that any longer. So
and I don't mean to be disrespectful, but for all the years that this, 15 years I've been in this and people have tried, I started to not believe it. I almost did it. I did not believe that it was possible, that something like that could happen, to be honest with you. Like I was like, okay, people are doing this Reiki stuff and then people are coming out and saying, oh my God, I feel so much better. And that was more of a inner thing for me because I was frustrated. Like, why can't that happen for me? Why can I not do this? Why can't this, why is everybody else saying, oh yeah, go, this was great and get this done and let them pull the ugly stuff out and let them do it. And it wouldn't work. And I'm like, why isn't this working for me? So I think my own self-defense was to say, that's not real. People, that's just people, whatever,
Right.
Not lying, but maybe, thinking it's weird, placebo effect, whatever the case may be. Until a couple weeks ago. It literally amazes me because of how deep emotionally connected I was. And then I wasn't. And then you can't, as a human, if it's just it's not a light switch.
Well, everything works off of energy. and
Right.
your emotions hold energy. And I am an energy worker. So
It was amazing.
that is part of it. It's learning how to control that energy,
And
just
I'm telling you, if
really.
anybody that is watching, I will put my hand on whatever Bible, whatever you guys, I promise you, hand to God, that it was an amazing experience. So if anybody is struggling with anything, please, contact Charli. She can totally help you out with.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, I can vouch for it. You know what I mean? Like, I vouch for it because it happened. So it made me a believer in it. And it also made me believe, like, look, whether it was me and yours energy that kind of were able to connect, and then, you know, and then also kind of like me, like wanting that to happen, like wanting that so bad, when,
Well, it doesn't matter in any healing modality. It doesn't matter what
okay,
it is. In any healing modality, the person has to be willing to allow me to make those changes. Free
right.
will is a bitch
Well, and you said that in
sometimes,
the beginning.
you know?
Right. And you said that in the beginning. You said
Mhm.
you have to really want this yourself,
Yep.
and you have to allow me to help you. Like,
Yep.
and you said, "Are you sure?" I said,
Mhm.
"Yes." And then you said, "Because that's when you said, because I don't want a repeat customer. And this is,
Yeah.
because the second time around could be harder, it could be whatever." So
I have had people come to me that I knew were not ready. And I truly consider myself a healer. I heal. I don't put band-aids. I don't put temporary, boo-boos. I don't temporarily fix them. We either heal that, or I am not the person for you. I don't want, if I have repeat clients, then I'm failing. I need a new position,
right,
Um,
absolutely.
that's my personal belief structure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Becoming a practitioner, and you need to be fully open to receive a healing. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, hi, Rick. Hi, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. It was quite an experience. I mean, and if I ever, gosh, I know who to call when I need to, when I need to Superman, go into a booth and Superman myself out of a like Charli 911.
Oh,
But I met Charli through April Brissett, who
yeah,
Charli actually mentored April.
yeah,
And as you all know, April also, she does her, her readings weekly. And she also is an amazing psychic medium. Like
mhm,
both of you in my life, I'm blessed because you both are
yeah,
just amazing women, and have totally like changed, the way I feel about that stuff. And I appreciate that. Now, last night we were talking, me and you had a talk. And we
yeah.
started to talk about how many different shamanic, I don't want to say the wrong word. You said that you were going to start to study African, right?
Yeah. So,
Well, what are the difference in between? I mean, I didn't realize there were different.
depending on where, geographically where they're located, it's just like anything else. They have different tools that they will use, different practices, different rituals. Um, and I find that intriguing. And I'm really just a big nerd. I am. I'm just a really big metaphysical nerd. I just want to know everything there is possibly to know. And I've studied 12 separate sects of shamanism, um, and I have never had the opportunity with African. And when I had met this gentleman, I just got really excited, and it's a completely way different than any other practice, in my opinion, and very cool, very cool. And I'm super stoked to work with him. So
That's awesome. But
yeah,
it's different though, right? Each one is different.
absolutely. Yeah, they're different in their modalities and their tools. Um, it's let me give you a comparison. They have the similar belief structure where everyone has to have their rites of passage that they go through to become a shaman. So that's very similar. They all are energy master manipulators. That's all very similar. But where one may use a cauldron, another one may use a feather in place of it, or the different ways of opening their space and the belief structures and the energies that they use when they open their space is different. Different herbs are exalted comparatively to other sects. So,
Oh,
but generally, very, very, very similar. Yeah. Just
wow.
different ways. That's why I say, I've studied so many different religions and spiritual sects that I believe there's just one God. We like to put a lot of labels and worship a different way and do things, but it's essentially the same thing. We're just putting different labels on it.
I think so too. I think, I'm not a believer in organized religion. So but I do believe in a higher power. I believe in the saints. I believe in the archangels. I believe I believe in Jesus. I mean, I believe, but I also believe that there is a higher power, and, whatever it is, or he or she or, whatever,
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's what I mean, you think about the Greek and the Romans, and then all that, they had gods for everything. They had a sun god, they had a rain god, they had a clown god, a moon god. It's like, and we look back now and we're like, okay, there's only one, but back then that's what they believed.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I watch a lot of geeky shows like Mysteries of the Abandoned, Mysteries of the Museum, on the Science Channel. They have like all kinds of cool shows where they go back, and I was watching one the other night, and as a human being, you question everything.
For sure.
You question, like, okay, was the Bible really, interpreted by somebody from back then, right? But then we watched the show the other night where they actually have pages, and this is what they say, that, what was it? That it was the original page, the first, do you remember? And they were able to use some type of a lamp to get, what was it? It was something Jesus related. Like it was a part of the Bible, like the original, one of the original transcripts of the Bible. Like, and
the only one that I am familiar with is the Septuagint. That's what I'm familiar with. That's all I can.
Yeah, I don't know, but the fact that exists changes my mind now about.
Well, I think that we can just go to the Book of Enoch. That was completely eradicated from the King James Version, and you have to stop and pause when that's said. King James Version. He picked and choose. How can I control the masses? How can they keep them in an orderly conduct, and the dogma with morality and how you should behave? It kept the peace. Yeah, sure, they're going to have a few people that aren't going to go along, but the majority will. And so he reigns forth. And I just have big issues with it. Big issues, huge issues. I think that it's many, many, many people attributed to this book, all through the filter, the lens of their perception of events that had occurred or that they dreamt of, which is written time and time again, or was given to them through, just like I'm given information
Right.
for my clients. So it's all through the filter of that lens. Would I say it's nonsense? Absolutely not. But we
Right.
have to take into account. I know people who can tell a story and they caught a fish this big. And I know
Right.
people who are transparent and honest. And you can't tell that when you're reading that book. Which one likes to embellish, which one likes to overanalyze or use flowery terms. You don't know. So it's through the filter of the lens. But do I respect it? Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Me too. 100%. I mean, and it's interesting that you say that. That just like you in the Bible, time and time again, it says, things came to people in dreams or things came to people in their head, which makes me wonder why religious people can't accept that this is possible.
Oh, I find it very interesting. Again, my family is very Pentecostal.
Right.
So Pentecostal, they believe, they're pretty hardcore, actually. They're a pretty hardcore group. And I remember my father, he had said that I have the gift of discernment. That's what he called it. You've been given the gift of discernment. And I remember going, this doesn't feel like a gift. This doesn't
Right.
feel like a gift. And that was their belief. And that really stuck with me because, God gave this to you for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And even though my God may not identify with what my father perceives as God,
Right.
that did cause pause and go, you know what? You're right. He did.
Right.
There's got to be a reason why I'm like this.
Right.
Maybe I
Right.
should have as much faith in me as he has in me,
Right.
to sustain this, whatever, this is.
Right.
So,
Absolutely. Absolutely true. Darren probably missed the beginning, but he wanted to know what got you into becoming a shaman.
What?
That's mainly what you do now, right? I mean, is that mainly?
Well, a shaman is a psychic medium energy healer. It is the whole gamut. There is no one classification that fits us. We do it all.
Okay.
We're like a one-stop shop, I guess you would say.
You didn't start out ghost hunting.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So I think you just skipped over because most people will start out doing paranormal stuff and lead into it. But
No, I did the exact opposite.
okay.
I was a full-fledged shaman practicing for years, decades before I even went, I wonder what this Reiki stuff is about.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's just the truth. But one thing did lead to another, and I did meander through many, many different things. I want to say, God, I'm so old now that I think about it. Somewhere in my 30s, I was asked to join in with a group for ghost hunting, and they were recording it. And I had done a couple with some other folks in this one particular group, which I won't name, that are in Michigan, which is where I'm from.
Mhm.
They had said, because I'm giving my perception of what events had occurred and all this, and they want, evil demonic stuff to be
Yes.
happening.
Yeah,
And
he
I'm
does.
like, I'm totally not getting that. There's a couple of Earthbounds. It's not a big deal, guys.
Yeah.
You might be wasting your time. They said, I want you to put your hand on the wall and just do this and look into the camera and go, this is what I'm perceiving. And I'm like, absolutely fucking not.
Yeah.
Because anybody in their right mind that does this, they're going to look at me and go, she is full of shit, because that's not how it works, bro. That
Right.
is not how it works,
Right.
And I really stayed away from that because I thought, I'm working so hard to prove the existence of the afterlife, and they're kind of making fun of it and making it Hollywoodized. So I just shied away from that, to be honest with you.
And you know what? You're right. I mean, like, so many people do it. So
Yeah.
many people do it. It's so sad because
Mhm.
you could be so pivotal during an investigation.
So
I mean, you could be so, I don't know if pivotal, but you could be very helpful and useful during an investigation, meaning you could add to it just as much as a skeptic could add to an investigation. You know what I mean? Like it's almost, I feel like it's almost necessary for us to have people like you to help us,
I think it's really cool that there are people that go to those specific sites and they're like, okay, there's stuff going on here. I think it's phenomenal that people document it and they have, all the tools to substantiate and have science back it up and say, this is something other than what we have here going on.
Right.
I think that's phenomenal, but it's not really solving the issue of the family in crisis.
Right.
So why don't we remove that energy, and why don't we help that particular area? The land itself needs to be healed.
Yeah.
So why are we not doing those things instead of just having 20, 30 people, different, hunting groups coming to the same spot? Because I think about the souls that are trapped there, and it really bothers me. It's like, man, there's so many opportunities to cross them over, and they've been here for what? And they're like, oh, they're doing this and they're doing that. Man, I'd be kind of cranky and bitchy too if I was sitting around Earth for 100 years.
Yeah.
And people keep busting in, going, give me
a
sign.
Yes.
Now,
it's interesting that you say that, because when I trained to be a paranormal investigator, we're told, that human spirits have free will. They can come and go as they please. So you can't really remove human spirit, from a location.
Do you want my perspective on that?
Absolutely, 1000%.
It's not going to be a popular opinion, which most of what I say is not a popular opinion.
Listen, this is the Paranormal Brew. Nobody's judged here. You know what I mean? So, and you're not going to lose any respect. So, I mean, absolutely, I want your opinion and your perspective.
When it comes to Earthbounds, make no mistake, it's not like they're trapped here and they can never escape. The problem is they don't believe, after they've been here for X amount of time, they don't believe they can cross over. It's not that they can't, they don't believe it. So when there's terms of, opening the veil or showing them the door, the window, I've heard so many different terms, that really all we're doing is pointing it out to them and saying, right here, babe.
Yeah.
Right here. That's it.
Yeah.
And we have, a ritual that we do, which calls forth the ancestors to assist.
Oh.
So, when I am told you cannot, or it's not believed, you cannot remove something from a space because it's refusing to go, not in my experience.
Right.
Not in my experience. And I have a plethora of clientele that will tell you otherwise. But I think it's different than most people because I respect every single soul. Right. I don't demand or threaten or negotiate, but I have empathy and compassion for all souls.
Right.
So it's different. I believe it's different. And I believe that's why the spirits that I come in contact with, they know the space that I'm coming from. They know my soul. They know your soul. You can't hide that. There's nothing to hide from them. They see you clearly.
Right. And so, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, if that is if that's the, and I don't say if, like, I don't believe you, but like,
no, I get it.
if it's that they don't believe they can, and you show them a way they can,
Yeah,
then also calling on ancestors. I mean, that
for
makes
sure.
yeah, that makes total sense.
For sure. For sure.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, it's really going to be mighty hard when you see your wife, your mother, your grandfather, your family, that's inviting you to join them, and you have that desire to reunite. But yeah. So in my experience, I can say for over 30 years, I have never, not once, ever had an earthbound stay at a location or have any disturbances after I have cleared a location. Never, not once.
It's awesome.
So that's just my experience personally.
Well, I think it speaks a lot of how you operate and how good you are, because you didn't do the paranormal stuff first. You kind of, this is where you started. So I feel like
I was actually scared of the paranormal stuff. If I'm being honest, I was. This was totally different for me. Where I was really kind of winging my way through it. Why am I seeing this? Why am I hearing this?
Right.
Why am I experiencing that?
No.
Yeah. So this girl wasn't going to go looking for it. I had enough following me around,
But I know you said that shaman is everything, and then you met your mentor. But did you meet him by accident? Was it something that you were looking for? Was it?
It's a great story. It's a really great story. And you're going to find out how crazy I am.
You are not crazy.
I was very young. I was 19. Okay. So I was like stupid young.
Uh-huh.
And I saw this guy. I had never, ever walked into a metaphysical store in my life. Knew nothing about them. And I had drove by this place multiple times. And I just felt compelled, almost like it was calling me. I know that sounds super tacky, but really, that's what I felt. And I pulled in to this place and I walked in and I saw him there. And I swear to you, the moment I saw him, he had little sparkles in his aura. And just little beautiful sparkles everywhere. And I knew that this guy had something because I had never seen that on another human being. There was something special about him. And he had said a multitude of things that I'm not going to get into. But he told me I wasn't ready. He told me, he's like, no, you're not ready. Because he asked me, do I know what I am? And I'm like, what do you mean, what am I? He's like, you're not ready. And I stalked him. Literally, I stalked him. I went to that store every day and I milled around. I bought so much crap that I didn't even know what it was, just so they wouldn't throw me out. Until he took me as his student. Yeah. I swear to God, I did.
You're like, cable guy.
And I was so weirded out. I didn't tell anybody for so long that he was my mentor. I was a working practitioner and I didn't tell people that I was a shaman. That's the truth. I mean, it was just, I don't know.
What were you saying? You were just medium psychic?
Yeah. But they all knew. Everybody knew. They knew something was different.
Why wouldn't you say that? Was it because you were afraid it would scare them?
I was scared of the perception of others.
Right.
Yeah, because think of how easy it is to say, oh, I went and had a Reiki section,
Right.
Or,
right.
oh, a psychic medium.
Right.
You know, that's super. Everybody's familiar with those terms. You say shaman, and they're like, "You're a redheaded white girl." You know,
Right. Right.
do you
Well,
see
I
what I'm
told
saying?
you, I said, I said, when I used to hear the word shaman, I always thought about monks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, typically it is the tree hugging, granola eating, indigenous frame of reference people have in their mind. And then they look at me and they're like, the fuck you say, you know?
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it was that. And at that time, I wasn't prepared to have the backlash that I perceived was going to happen. I really was concerned with how I would struggle with that, how my children would struggle with that. Um, and then, I got to a point where I thankfully just didn't care. It
Yeah.
was the best thing I ever did.
How do your children, are they
My
sensitive to
kids are
do
awesome.
do you see if they are sensitive?
All
Like,
my kids have varying degrees. My youngest one is I don't care, I'm not just saying this because she's mine, the best medium that I have ever come across. The best naturally gifted medium.
that's
Um,
awesome. Well, you were naturally gifted.
yeah, well, yeah, but I also got a pretty good bump to the head, Hers,
That's true.
yeah, I've never dropped her, not once. So, but I believe it's how we raise our kids. If we normalize it and we're accepting of, oh, so, so and so is my imaginary friend. It's not an imaginary friend.
Right.
You
Mhm.
normalize it, then they no longer feel like they're battling their own mind and their own perceptions, because that's what shuts it down and shuts it off.
That's
So
interesting. It's interesting. I love it. I love that. And then now your poor hubby, he's just surrounded by sensitive.
yeah,
He can't do
yeah,
anything wrong.
yeah.
He can't even lie about buying, like, oh, I forgot the bread. You're
my
like,
my kids are so great. My oldest daughter, she's graduating medical school, and she's like so nervous about her test, and she comes in, she's like, Mom, I need you to do your woo-woo shit, whatever, do it. She's hilarious. Yeah,
That's
I'm
great.
blessed.
That's awesome.
I am very blessed, because I've heard some horror stories,
Yeah.
and struggles that other people have endured, even in their closest of circles.
Yep.
Mine was perception. I perceived that these things would occur, and it was the fear of that perception. But I never had went through trials and horrors that I have heard other individuals. Thankfully, I thank my stars for that. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a couple questions.
Mhm.
I'll ask these questions. Somebody saying hi. Hi, Linda. She said, hey, Taryn, glad to have found your interview show after catching your Power Investigations. Glad you have Charli McBride with you. Me too. She's amazing. All right. So thank you, Linda, for joining us. So Rick, as I usually go to a location as a skeptic and try not knowing much or any information before going there. Are you the same way, Charli, or what?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think if you have any information before you go, it's bias. I have to work from a space of where I do not know anything, because my left brain loves to interfere. So if you're like, hey, we're going to, a place where there's soldiers that have died, I'm screwed. I'm screwed.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. But
Yeah.
are you screwed because now you're picking up on stuff before you
Oh,
get
for
there?
sure. Yeah. Yeah. I like the fact when I go to a specific space, and this is regardless of where I'm going, I'm already getting impressions on my way there. I'm already getting information before I step my foot on the property.
What if you're
And
going, but what if you're going to like a 6-year-old's birthday party?
It's happened.
Like when you're not going for anything like that. I mean, like
It's
on the way.
happened
Yeah.
more than
Okay.
once. More than once.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. It's happened more than I actually care to admit. It happens a lot.
Mhm.
And to the point of where my kids and my husband, I make one specific gesture and I will walk and remove myself from whatever gathering that we have going on, whether that's dinner. And yes, even at dinner, it happens. It really does. So I know it's really weird.
No, it's not weird. I mean, it's really, I mean, it's 24/7. You're constantly working,
Yeah. Yeah.
whether it's for the living or the dead.
Well, I think I have very good boundaries. I think, especially with spirit saying, at this time I do these things. I have very scheduled things that I do with spirit for Earthbounds, believe it or not. And it's very much beneficial for me because
Yeah.
there was a point where I was just so bombarded when I was younger. And it took a lot of training and a lot of practice. And I think life experience
Mhm.
that has changed that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Let me see. Darren, question. How do you handle a paranormal investigation differently from a psychic medium?
That's kind of open-ended, I guess. I'm still a psychic medium. How I handle it differently is I don't know. When I go to a paranormal investigation, it's with the knowledge that whatever is there, I will do everything in my power to remove. And I make that very clear to them. Because I cannot in good conscience go to a space where there are souls that are in need. That's what I'm here for, to be of service. How in the heck am I not being of service? I can't go to a space and just go, okay, this is what's happening. Bye. Have a great life.
Yeah,
What the heck am I doing?
right.
So I think that's what's different. But I would never say, that I'm far superior to any other. No, I'm not that. No, I'm no better than you and you're no better than me. And that's my belief.
Yeah, and I think you have to keep that in order for your gift. I guess I mean, you consider it a gift, right? I mean, or do you not? I mean, I'm sure at times you don't consider it a gift. You
No,
probably
I do, but
okay.
I strongly believe that any psychic development or mediumship or any type of development is a byproduct of your spiritual growth, period.
Hmm.
So if you are not continuing that growth spiritually, then your as you had stated, your gifts, they're going to dissipate. We've seen it time and time again with big names. They're fantastic, they're great, they're awesome, and then ego, money, popularity,
So true.
exposure seems to take the forefront, and then you see those gifts slowly disintegrate and extinguish because there's no room. There is no room for the spiritual growth because there's too much
Yeah.
of
I mean, I
you
kind of
know,
think too that happens because they lose sight of what they're really supposed to be doing with their gift.
I
I get that people make a living off of this. That's what I'm talking about.
yeah,
What I'm talking about is the people that are striving to just be on TV. Like they're doing different things to get famous or be
yeah,
better than the next.
yeah.
And instead of, remembering what it is that they're actually doing, and
I think authenticity is primal. And I think the moment that you're put on a pulpit, or you're elevated above others, is the moment that you have lost sight of everything.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, you've lost sight of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I endeavor to always be mindful of that.
And it's tough.
Yeah.
That's a tough thing, especially when you are being noticed and you are getting attention. It's tough but I know so many people on the paranormal side of that are amazing, even no matter how big they are.
Yeah.
Jason Hall's one of them. I mean, he's amazing. I mean, he's so down to earth. You know what I mean? So I
But
know
do you think that's what makes him amazing?
being
That
down to earth.
Yeah, because he's not egoic. He's not
Right.
full of crap. And
Right.
that's what's amazing.
Yes,
about him.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. 1000%. All of
Yeah.
it. I mean, and he's personable and he doesn't talk down to anybody. He knows he's been doing it a long time. Obviously, he does whatever he's doing right, because it's keeping on going, and
Right.
and he's a healthy, successful person, whereas there's other people that are successful, but you think like, how the heck are they on TV?
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like, but you can feel the difference. I feel the difference when I'm watching. That's why I can't watch the other shows. I
Oh,
can't
but
watch any of
you
them.
don't have anything, right? Oh, I'm not psychic. I don't have nothing. But you can feel the energetic difference. See? Eat your words, Taryn. Eat them, eat them, eat them. Would you like a spoon or a fork with that?
I guess I should shovel it, so I'll have a spoon. What's been the most craziest case you have been on? I don't know if you can. So I'm assuming yours is client confidentiality mostly. So I'm not sure if you can really. I don't know. You can
Yeah,
answer that.
they
I'm not
are.
answering for you,
There's 5 of what I mentally refer to as my top 5, and I think it would have to be a possession case that went on for quite some time, and that the family knew, and the person had been struggling for years prior. And that when I think of crazy, I think it's crazy how humans ignore other humans that are supposedly cared and they're part of your family. So that to me was really, really crazy that had went on for such a length of time. Yeah.
Right.
But if you want to go to the other end of the spectrum, I had a case that came before me where, somebody had literally intentionally hurt themselves and was, perceiving that they had been attacked and they weren't. And it was just like, you need intervention and attention and love and affection, and know that you are valued and you are worthy, and you don't need to go this route to get that.
Yeah. One of the last residential cases that I was a part of when I was a part of a group, mind you, came to us, and it was the woman. It wound up coming out that the mother, so it was a mother, a father, and I think 3 or 4 children were in the house. They were sleeping in the living room. They were scared to go anywhere else, in the whole entire house. Well, here found out that the woman was a schizophrenic, and the husband was refusing to give her medications.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Wow.
He did not want her on meds. Convinced her that she didn't need meds.
Wow.
I would not put a team in that house. I said, there's no way.
See, I say shamanic, I need to be very transparent. In my belief, any mental defect, there is a spiritual reason for that occurring. And I know, again, not popular opinion, but I believe that we should look to Western medicine in those acute times of need. If this particular person isn't in the space to have healing occur, why not medicate them?
Exactly.
That makes no sense to me whatsoever.
It was, to me, that was the craziest case I've ever, we didn't go, but actually, I don't know if the group went because I argued with the director of my group about that. He was insistent on going. And I said, we should not be going there to do an investigation. That is insane. That is the opposite of anything that he ever taught us. I said, we shouldn't be going there. And that was ultimately the straw that broke the camel's back with me, with the group and leaving. And I couldn't believe he was going to do that. And I want to know parts of it. Yeah, I want to know parts of it.
Well, good for you. Good for you. And look, you're here with us now.
I know. You're here with us now, which I'm excited about. But we only have a couple minutes. So who's been the most favorite person to... you can't ask that. How's she going to say who her favorite person is?
You know what? I can honestly say that there are so many profound people in this field that I have been privileged to work with, that to singularly pick out one, I don't think I could do that. I couldn't do that. Yeah.
You can't. I mean, really, because
I'm just being honest, though.
I agree.
There's so many.
Ronald. Hi, Ronald. I worked at Overbrook Insane Asylum in Cedar Grove, New Jersey. I went to Overbrook Regional High School. Same thing. It was insane, but not an insane asylum. Cedar Grove, New Jersey for 10 years. I've been on Paranormal Witness, scariest night of my life. Yeah, that stuff kind of does happen. Do you do past life regression? If so, how many different past lives have you had?
I do them. I give past life regressions. I have had them. And I think that innumerable would be a good word choice. I think I'll stick with innumerable.
Innumerable. That's a good one.
Yeah.
And this is Dom's mom. Hi, Mom.
Hello.
What do you think of Tyler Perry?
He's a television personality.
Do you know who he is?
Oh, first I got to be completely transparent. I do not watch TV.
Yeah,
so I'm going to look like a retard when it comes to TV personalities, because I know I'm not like under a rock. I know that some of those things, once a month we go to the movies. I'm not completely crazy, but I'm just not really into that Hollywood scene. I wish I could be of more help.
Yes, for the stars. Yeah. The only one that I don't know who Tyler Perry is either.
Oh, wait a minute.
Medea?
I think she's trying to say Henry. Tyler Henry. Would that be correct?
What do you see, babe?
But Tyler Perry, he's a producer. Just plays Medea, the black one.
No, they're talking about a psychic medium, I think, for the
stuff. There's Tyler Henry. I believe that's what I'm hearing anyways. She's yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. What do I think of him? Oh, I think he's absolutely phenomenal. I wish him nothing but the best. I feel like he's had a lot of challenges and struggles, and he could use every one of us rooting for him. He's an awful young person to have been so vigorously displayed for public consumption.
Yeah.
You know? And I think he's handled it with grace and dignity that a lot of adults wouldn't be able to handle. That's my belief.
I for sure wouldn't be able to.
Yeah.
I love John Edwards. John Edwards. What do you think of John Edwards?
I think he is the most down to earth. He's a genuinely nice guy. He's genuinely a very nice guy.
He seems
what you see is what you get. There's
Yeah.
no bullshit.
Yeah.
And that's definite.
I love him. He's been really the only one that since like when my dad passed away, like that's how I started to kind of get into stuff like this, is like, he was the first thing that I watched. He had that show Crossing Over with John Edwards, and I would watch it. And I remember I was a part of a church at the time, and I went to Father Michael and I said, well, what if people are saying they can communicate with people that have died and this and that? And I remember Father Michael was not your traditional priest, because he came from a really dark place. He was a born again. I mean, it was a Catholic church, but he had a hearing in his ear. He liked a band to play music, for a church, which I think I kind of gravitated more towards, because when he left, I kind of lost interest in that, and I kind of started questioning the Catholic religion and so forth. I steered away from it, but, and I said to him, I go, could this happen? And he sat me down and he said, yes, absolutely. Wow. He said, and this is why I always say it, Jesus rose again. People saw him. People talked to him. He said,
I think Jesus is the perfect example. And again, not popular belief. Right. You're the one that invited me on your show. So I hope this doesn't stir up too much.
Listen,
I think he is the epitome of what we all have the capacity to become and do and be.
Right.
That's my belief.
He said, and if they say, oh, they're getting visions and stuff, he said, it's throughout the Bible. You see it. People have gotten visions from God. People have gotten visions from those that have crossed over. People have gotten visions from Jesus. He's like, so yeah, God made all of us in the likeness of him. So, and of course this is coming from a Catholic point of view. So, but still at that
very
moment,
familiar. Yeah.
At that moment in time, I was desperate, because I lost my father, and I was like, what the heck, so.
And that's why it came to you when it did, for that season. You needed that for that season.
So I've always followed John Edwards. I've always thought he was awesome. The same thing with Ghost Hunters. Like I've never steered away from Jason. I mean, he's amazing. There's some. I know you got to go. So let me just let you know, I want to say thank you. Can you tell people where to find you? Where
can you find me? You can find me at
everywhere.
Yeah, it's right at my name. See my name where it says the shamanicpaths.com. That's my website. You can find me there. That's pretty much it. I'm a pretty easy. You can find me right there. You can email me through there. You can set up free consultations through there. Or you can just check out whatever I have going on at the time. Also, I run free developmental circles, and I do once a month, I do mediumship readings for whoever wants to show up. And we do healing circles. When I say we, I mean me and my graduating students who have been with me for a long time.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Our elders is how I like to refer to them, because they have earned that for sure.
Oh, that's so awesome. This is what I love right here. This is why I do my show.
That's awesome.
Now I understand what shamanic is about. And that is why I do my show.
And that is why I came on your show, because, I was very hesitant. So that is why I came on it. I'm hoping to normalize the word shamanism, and that it's not some, armchair shamanic person that's saying this and that and this, but somebody who walks it and breathes it, lives it, and does not distinguish it from any other facet of their life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you are amazing. And I am a walking example of your work.
I appreciate that, Taryn.
I'm not even kidding. I am not even kidding. I like literally we hung up and Rob, my boyfriend, came home and I told him right away. I said the most amazing thing that has happened to me since I have been in this journey 15 years. It's never happened.
That's
and
good.
it's happened. You
But
know?
it was time for it to happen for you. It was
Yeah.
the perfect time for you. Yeah.
So I appreciate your time because I know time is precious on your
Yeah.
end.
Yes.
Please thank your students and everybody that you rearranged and are waiting.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
thank you so much for
My
coming on
class is all watching us and they're
my
waiting.
class.
So
Thank you so much for letting me have her for 5 minutes. I'm sorry. And then obviously you can catch Charli every Tuesday, 7 p.m. on Paranormal Brew and on BB3 TV for sure. And like I said, look her up, and if you need help, questions, whatever, this beautiful woman is available.
I appreciate it. Thank you. It was such a pleasure coming on.
Thank you so much. I love
appreciate
you.
it.
And I
love
will
you too.
talk to you soon, and you have a great night.
You too, love. Bye-bye.
I'll see you. That was a goodie. She's a good, I could probably talk to her for a really, really, really long time. Got to catch up on the live, but I'm sure it was awesome. Yes, Alita, I'm sorry. Usually I do 7:30 to 8:30, but Charli had a show, so I had to go on a little bit early, but that's okay. I mean, it's awesome. So I appreciate her time. She was awesome. She explained everything. She kept saying not popular opinion, but a lot of the things that she, believes or whatever, I believe too. I mean, she may not realize how popular it is, but she is very awesome. And awesome to talk to and listen to and get advice from and work with, actually, so, if you're somebody that has trouble with doing stuff like that, and like me, somebody like her is very beneficial to help you with getting rid of any negative stuff around you. It's you have no idea. Weight was lifted off my shoulder in 5 minutes, and it was amazing. Oh, thank you. So next week, I have Haunted MD, Dr. Molnar is coming on. He is a physician, an ER physician, but also does paranormal investigating. If you look back at some past Paranormal Brew shows, he's been on before, but he is coming on again because he's one of my favorites. So I hope you guys join me next week. It'll be a regular time, 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern. And I don't believe I have anything. I don't think I have anything in between that. Let me see. I'm pretty sure I don't. No. And then after that is Bill Slevin, who is also on here tonight. So Bill Slevin. So I hope you guys join me next week when I have Haunted MD on. And until then, check. Oh, you see Eris? There he is. I'm telling you, I've been very sad the last couple of days after losing a very good friend of mine, Bill Freeman. And it's almost like this is how Zeus would have been. Zeus would have been very attached to me, laying with me. Eris has been sleeping with me. He's been following me around and laying with me. So it's almost like Zeus. Hi, 421. He's so adorable. Of course, we will always join your lives on here. Always have fun no matter what. Oh, thanks, Rick. Oh, hi, Jing. But it's Eris. It's almost like Zeus is sending Eris to do his job. I don't know. He literally, I never have him sitting with me like this, and he's just attached. Right, baby? You touch your mama? He's just been attached to me. And I think it's Zeus that's doing it because he knows I'm sad. Because that's when he was alive, whenever he wasn't feeling well, me and Zeus wouldn't leave each other's side. Whenever I wasn't feeling well, Zeus did not leave my side. He slept with me. He cuddled with me. You can't eat my bracelet. But I literally think that that's why this little guy is doing what he's doing. So, because normally he'd be off somewhere sleeping, not anywhere near me. So this is my Zeus doing this to make me happy, keep me comfort. So thank you guys for joining. I have to go eat. We're having upside down day, breakfast for dinner. So enjoy your night, and I will see you guys soon.